Hey everyone. So I'm here to describe what the PDSA cycle assignment is. At the start of the semester, we let you know that there will be a small research project you do in your student teaching classroom, and that's what this is. This PDSA cycle stands for Plan, Do, Study, and Act. It's a smaller version of a very large methodology we use in education called action research. It allows you to implement what we call a change idea. So that's an idea that you want to implement in your classroom because there's something that goes on in your classroom that you drive home thinking about: how can I incorporate some sort of solution to affect change in my classroom so that something works better. So sometimes this is classroom management, student engagement. You might want to lower the noise level. You might want to increase student involvement or student discussion. Or you just want to, you might want to make a central location where students can collect materials that doesn't turn into a big cluster of students standing trying to get things. Maybe you have students who never bring any pencils and you just want a central location for somewhere to do your pencil lending. So again, they can be pretty small ideas, but they can affect your classroom in really large ways. And so the PDSA then stands for these Plan, Do, Study, Act. So these are 4 steps you take. The first step is you plan the idea, like how will you test that change idea you've come up with. And then also, what tool will you use to collect your data? Then you go into the do step where you actually test the data and you collect that data that data that you wanted or you test the change idea by collecting the data. And then you'll study that data after it's over and you'll make some sort of analysis from it, that it worked, it didn't work, it allowed students this, and took away things like that. And then you'll make a decision, step 4, to act on it. You'll either abandon the practice because it didn't work, you'll adapt the practice in some way to make it more effective, or you'll adopt it exactly as you planned it because it just worked well from the beginning. So then down here is just a quick verbal description or explanation of the PDSA cycle, showing again that it's a method of inquiry to think about a change idea and how to observe new outcomes in your classroom just by implementing something that happens quickly. So the PDSA cycle is a 3-day research project, and the 3 days must be sequential. So make sure you're doing Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you allow the weekend to happen, you create a variable in your research project that will skew your data. Okay, and then you'll understand why, because you're all teachers right now. But if you give the students the 2 days to go home and forget the instructions you gave them, then you won't be able to see really the fruitfulness in this plan you came up with. Okay, so you'll pick these 3 sequential days and you'll implement the change idea and collect the data during those 3 days. And then after you've done that, you'll then look at the data, you'll make an analysis, and then you'll decide what you'll do with it in that step 4. So how you will record all of this so that we can observe it and give you feedback is, first, on March 5th, you'll submit to the Dropbox either on a written piece of paper or you'll do it in the comment box of the Dropbox what your change idea is. Okay, and so then Dr. McCurdy and I will look at that and we'll say, yeah, this looks like a great idea. Go ahead, go forth, try to make that plan. If we look at the idea and we think, oh, this might be a little bit too big, but here's an idea that you could use that's smaller and it would be easier to collect data on, that's going to be the purpose of turning this idea in the beginning. So then once you've gotten the approval on your change idea, you'll move into the template. And that's linked below. So the template shows the 4 steps. You'll write out the plan and the do step for the first time you submit it. And then when you submit it completed will be at the end of the project. And so you'll kind of use step 3 and step 4 here on your template to brainstorm what you will put into your final presentation. So there's a sample link to help you understand what you're doing step by step. So the sample here has some instructions at the top just to give you, again, give you a frame of reference of what we're doing, because we're, like I said, we're going to take off just a little bit at a time. So the first thing is you've turned in the change idea. It's been approved. Second thing, you've made a copy of the template and you've started working only on the draft part, which is steps 1 and 2. So this will be submitted to Dr. McCurdy and me before you've completed the study at all. Okay, so what's important to notice in the sample is that days 2 and 3 under step 2 are direct copies of themselves. You can see this. I will create all the way down to group work about instructions. Now, the reason why is because on day 1, you're going to do your instructions just as you had always, and you'll keep your tally sheet. You'll notice how often students are either on or off task when it comes to that particular thing. And then either at the end of day 1 or at the start of day 2, you'll give the students the instructions for the new idea. Okay, and so you might preview it on day 1 and then remind them on day 2, or you just start fresh on day 2 with here's the set of instructions and how we're going to change. So once you've done that, then you'll tally that day. And then the second day of the actual study will be the day that shows us whether or not the students pushed what am I trying to get at? Like the students will transfer that knowledge from the day before to try to do that change idea again, and you'll tally that again. And if you notice that your numbers go down, then you may be able to make an analysis like this change idea really did change my classroom and affected it in this certain set of ways. Okay, so step 2 can be tricky for students, but it's really important that you just understand that the first day, describe what you usually do. The second day, describe what you will do. And the third day, copy what you wrote for the second day and paste it here. All right. Now, when you're looking at step 1, a lot of this is going to come from the idea you might have sent originally. So you've got the statement of your problem that you sent for your change idea, the dates you've chosen, which class period you'll use, and then how you plan to collect the data, and then what do you think your prediction is, right? State your hypothesis. So this part, state the data you plan to collect. So that is going to be directly connected to the second thing that must come in for the draft. So the first thing is steps 1 and 2 are completed. And the second thing for the draft is that you have created the tool that you plan to use to collect your data. All right, and so you see here, this is a tally sheet that will work, but there are all sorts of ways that students have decided to collect their data. So just think about what would be the best way and easiest way for you to get those number counts you'll need in order to look at what happened on day 1 when I did the practice the way I've always done it, and then how the first day went with the students with the new practice, and then how the second day went. And you're hoping to see that decrease so that you can say, oh, hey, at that step 4, my act, I don't want to abandon. And I actually don't even have to adapt this. I'm just going to go ahead and adopt it fully. And I am the greatest teacher ever because I did it wonderfully from the beginning, right? But that's what you turn in for the very first, or the draft part of your PDSA cycle, is you'll leave this all the way it is. Okay. In the template, you'll just leave steps 4 and 3, just like this. You'll complete each of the bullets, and then you will create your tool. So then Dr. McCurdy and I, now again, we get another set of eyes on it. We think, oh yeah, that plan will work. That looks great. Your tally sheet or your tool for your data collection seems to work. Go forth, be merry, do the 3 days. Okay, so again, notice at this point, and we haven't even done the study. And if you look down at your timeline, this is the stuff that will be happening from now until March 5th. And then March 12th, you'll turn in the draft. So March 5th, we'll turn around real quick and say, this idea is great. You'll start plugging in steps 1 and 2, creating that tool you need, submitting that. And then the dates that you've chosen on your template, which is shown in the sample too, just to give you a frame of reference, whatever 3 dates you choose, they will be the heading here. Okay. And so you'll go, at this bullet, whatever, March 20th, March 21st, March 22nd. And then you'll explain March 20th, I did exactly what I've always done. 21st, I'm doing the new plan. 22nd, I just copied this from the 21st and put it right here. I don't mean to overstress this, but many times I will get 3 completely different actions happening. And so it's really important that you recognize that days 2 and 3 are the exact same in order for you to study your hypothesis. Okay, so so we've implemented the PDSA cycle and you've got all your data. Then you'll go back to the template and complete your steps 3 and 4, and you'll have that document will be complete. So you'll have all your data collected, all 4 steps completed, and then you will go and create a Google Slides presentation or a PowerPoint presentation. So that also has a set of criteria here. Here's the presentation requirements. And that will tell you even how many slides you need. So you really just need 5 slides. You have a title page that has a title that describes your project. You do the plan on 1 slide. So what happened, what did it look like step by step? The study, let's look at the data. The act is then to tell us about the adopt, adapt, or abandon. What's above here is just to let you know that you will present this. You will have a total of 15 minutes to give your presentation, but just know that you need to at least present to the audience from 5 to 10 minutes, and you will have 5 minutes to take questions from your audience. It needs to be a PowerPoint or a Google slide, and then somebody will be in charge of recording the small groups and then uploading those, but I'll give you more than enough instructions for that before we even get there. So the slides are worth 50%, and then the 5 to 10 minute presentation is worth 50%. And so at the end of the semester, essentially, because by April 18th, we'll really be winding down, you will turn in the presentation you created for the virtual meeting on April 18th at 5, and you'll turn in your completed cycle document, and that'll go right into this Dropbox. The other things that are down here are a couple of videos that you can watch about where PDSA cycles came from and learning from a teacher. And then some of the images down here, if you just search PDSA cycles, you can find all sorts of teachers' bulletin boards where they put them up in their classroom and the students kind of do the PDSA cycle alongside them. And so here we have all the study materials are put out so students can see how it works. But again, it's just for you to see that you make one small plan, you make one small change in your classroom, and then you do the change in the classroom. You create a tool to document whether or not that do is working, and you look at the tool or that document, or that you look at that tool to see how the plan was documented, and if it is a successful plan, then you would want to keep it. And so this is, again, to make sure that teachers are keeping their practices new and fresh and tailored to the students they teach. If you have any questions, of course, reach out, and I don't know, good luck, and I hope you enjoy it.